For the last time, Parker, our pronouns are they, them. Not because we are non-binary, but because we are literally two nullers.
What is up, my collectors? It's your boy Reeferino, and today we have the Medicom Mafex 88 Venom. For those unfamiliar with Medicom's Mafex line, they're a toy company mostly focused on DC, Marvel, and a few Star Wars figures as well as making a lot of other figures from movies and stuff. Here is the Venom box, and I've already unboxed this boy, and it's kind of reflective, I'm sorry, but there's no plastic wrap on him because I've already opened and played with him a ton. This is this side of the box, this side of the box. I got this guy off of Plaza Japan for about $67, I think was his price. He is an old figure, but Mafex just did a reissue of a lot of their old Marvel figures, so this happened to be one of them. I'm quite excited to delve into the depths with this boy. So without further ado, let's get him out of the packaging. So here is Venom outside the box with his clawed hands, which is his default, not the fists, which is not normal for most figures, but it's Venom. So the box is labeled the same as it is with the other Spider-Man 185 figure that I'm sure some of you are familiar with. He's part of the Amazing Spider-Man line. I believe this is illustrated by Todd McFarlane. I believe that's the same style of Venom. Here's a side-by-side photo. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what this boy is supposed to be right here. In appearance, there's not much to talk about. I mean, he's got his white spider and the rest of him is black, but you may not be able to tell on camera, but he does have light blue shading. Well, not light blue, it's very, very dark blue, but he's got blue shading all around his body. Mostly, I think on this chest area and the upper part of the arms is where I'm noticing it the most. But he has this really nice, just darkish blue shading right here. And it goes like all across his back. And it looks really freaking sweet. The symbiote Spider-Man action figure has a similar thing where he is bluish shading all across his body, so it makes sense why they did the same for Venom when Venom was the one to come first. So I really do like that, and it's really freaking cool that they did that. And one thing, we'll get into this with the size comparisons, but another thing with his appearance is that some people might not like his height. He's kind of not as big as modern Venom takes have been, but I'm kind of okay with that because this is Todd McFarlane Venom, and he was kind of just the size of like a slightly bigger dude. Like he's just a bulked up, tall guy. That was Venom back then. So with that out of the way, we'll get straight into articulation, starting with the head. He's on that double ball joint that all Mafex figures pretty much have. So you can look down about that much, look up about this much. Side to side rotation. It's very nice. As you can see, the dumbbell right there is curved so that he can look up greatly. Arms can do 90 degrees and then some. You have a double bend at the elbow, bicep swivel. Butterfly joints can get your arms to move around this much. Oh yeah, that is so good.
How's the pie?
So good.
He can cross his arms and then some, so that's pretty freaking sweet. And then hands on this kind of swivel thing. Pretty good for a Mafex. The only hindrance I can really see is with the ab crunch. So as you can see, Venom is kind of a jacked dude. He's more jacked than I think your average Mafex figure. So his ab and crunch articulation is a little bit hindered. You do get that swivel in there still, but it's like, it's kind of hard to move him with this like really thick upper body. But you could still, I mean, he's still got a bit of an ab crunch. It might just not be what you guys are used to with a lot of these figures. Moving down to the legs, they're on this drop down system. So using the drop down legs, you can get him to kick up, I think, about that much. He's got a sculpted butt, so maybe not as much back. And it's not too bad. I've seen worse. And then double bend at the knee, which looks really freaking cool. And then foot pivot, toe bend. So articulation, you're not going to get any problems with. He is a little bit tight, but I'd rather that than it be loose because he's going to loosen up over time, obviously. So, you know, he's new. I got him, I think, a week ago. So, you know, that makes sense. Just be careful with him. That kind of goes for most Mafex figures. Like, you don't want to, like, force anything, you know, just be patient with it. Like, if you hear it, like, shifting a little bit, don't, like, spaz the arm or anything. That's a good rule of thumb for most Mafex figures, is to just kind of be gentler, maybe. Or just be patient. I wouldn't even say gentle. Be patient, and you'll get him to do what you want to do.
Imaginary technique. Hollow. Purple.
Venom Venom comes with a good bit of things. We'll start with the hands, including the pair of hands he has on right now. He has 6 pairs of hands and an extra pair of feet. So his first pair of hands are obviously those claw ones we already went over. The second pair of hands are these web holding hands. Here's a better look at them. I believe every Spider-Man figure that has webs has hands like these. He's got a little point to his thumb, you know? Like a jagged edge, and that goes for all of his actual fingers and all of his hands. Third set of hands, I don't know if these are grabbing, but I think these are just more like stylized hands. I don't really know what these are for. If someone in the comments knows, let me know. Fourth pair of hands are the fist hands. His 6th pair of hands are these open out clawed hands. And then finally you get these extra pairs of hands and feet that have magnets attached to them, because every Mafex Spider-Man related figure has magnetic hands and feet. So you can stick them onto whatever metallic surface, or rather a magnetic surface, that you can find. And honestly, this is one of the greatest accessories I think any action figure can have, because I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I'm really glad Venom comes with this, as so does Mafex 185. Next, we'll go over heads. He has 3 of them and an alternate neck. So this is the first one, obviously. This is like his happy, grinned, sadistic expression. You can pretty much use this for anything. It's pretty universal. Here's his second head. It's more of like a closed mouth grinning expression, as you can tell. I think it's a little weird because Venom obviously doesn't have a nose, but here it's like you can really tell he doesn't have a nose as compared to like this head. This head kind of bugs me. And then his final head and neck is his Eddie Brock appearance. So this is the dude underneath the symbiote, and I think they did a really good job. He kind of looks like Slim Shady.
So call me.
There's a few things that I think Venom is known for. You know, the black ooziness of the symbiote, the white spider across his chest. Just feels like there's something missing with Venom that I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, his tongue! How is Venom gonna slickety slurp his enemies without a head to demonstrate that massive, beautiful tongue of his? I mean, this is the only head he has with his mouth open, and there's no tongue head or like tongue accessory to plug in. That's kind of depressing. And I know that this is like an older version of Venom, so maybe he's not like big on the tongue when he was being illustrated. I'm not really sure, but like, you think of Venom now, you think of the tongue. Then finally, every Spider-Man figure, you know, he's got to have his web accessories. So he has 2 different kind of webs with 2 each. These are the first kind of web accessories that he has, and these are for actually shooting webs out of his arm. So to apply these, it's relatively simple. It's a little bit different than most Mafex Spider-Man figures, but you put the web in through his hand like this, and so it actually wraps around his wrist, which is really nice because it's unique. And then you slide the hand back in, and then there you go. He's got the web accessory shooting out of his hand, which is pretty cool. And then he comes with this other pair of web accessory, which I think is made for more like grabbing. So it's a little tangled up, which is kind of annoying, but you kind of just do the same thing as before, where you just like slide it through his arm almost. He's grabbing the web with one hand and he's whipping with another. So I think that's pretty cool. I mean, obviously this is a horrible pose, don't get me wrong. If you are wondering, yes, these web effects are compatible with Mafex 185's third time bringing up, bro, but you can use them with any other Spider-Man figure from the Mafex line. My really only gripes with this figure is in the accessory department, because there's no tongue face, and also there's no like symbiote weapon effects. Now I get that they didn't want to make symbiote web stuff, like don't paint in black or whatever. That's fine, you know, just more versatility for other Spider-Man Mafex figures. But it's kind of annoying he doesn't come with any like symbiote created weapon stuff, because I know Carnage, the Mafex figure, he has a lot of different accessories for like symbiote weapons. Again, maybe he didn't use any in this rendition, who knows? But it's just like, man, it's something Venom is so known for nowadays that it feels weird not to include it here. And finally, with all Mafex figures, you gotta have your stand. Getting into size comparisons now, here's Venom standing next to most of my other Mafex figures. On the left, you have Batman Hush. On the right, you have the Spider-Man you've been seeing the whole video. And on the far right, you have Mando 2.0. And I think what a lot of people are gonna have a problem with this figure is that he's kind of just a normal height. He's a little bit taller than Spider-Man, yay, that's good. Mandalorian is about the same. Batman, he's shorter, which, I mean, this Venom isn't really meant to be that tall in the first place, but a lot of people aren't gonna like it because he's kind of just like a normal dude. He's not like ginormous, like the Spider-Man 2 Venom or like the movie Venom, or basically any modern interpretation of the character. In case you wanted to know how he scales next to Dragon Ball figures, he is going to be quite a bit taller than Goku and Vegeta, so that is kind of nice if you want to put him with some figure arts. And finally, for this comparison, JJK figures from SHF, he's going to be about the same height as Gojo, maybe a little shorter by like a hair, but you know. Canonically, I think with other action figures, this makes him 6 feet. I mean, I guess again, that kind of depends on the scale, so you know, take that as you will. Now we've made it to the end of the review where I give each figure I review a rating out of 10 based on 5 different categories I kind of model the reviews off of. This is my best way of being objective, although it's through a subjective lens. So if you disagree with my opinion, that's your opinion, but just know that this is my biased final thoughts. So appearance, I'm going to give this guy a 2 out of 2. There's nothing that I can see wrong with the way that this guy looks. There's no paint chipping. I'm happy to report. I know that the Spider-Man figures, specifically 185 and the Symbiote, are very notorious for paint chipping. Articulation is going to be an easy 2 out of 2 for me. I don't really super care if his abs, between his upper and lower abs, don't move super well. That doesn't really bother me. It still crunches relatively fine, and I don't really have any problems getting this guy into a pose that I think of. Accessories, I'm going to give him a 1.5 out of 2. Again, even if it's comic accurate, I'm a little disheartened he doesn't have a tongue or a symbiote created weapon of some sort with one of the hands. I think that's a really big missed opportunity, because in that sense, Carnage did a really good job, but Venom, just, it's unfortunate, man. And I don't have the Carnage. I don't think I'm gonna buy the Carnage anytime soon. I don't know, man. It's just a little annoying with that sense. Value for money, I got this guy from Plaza Japan for $70-ish. On the aftermarket, he'll probably run you for over 100. On Big Bad Toy Store, it was 110. I think 2 out of 2 is fair for what you're getting here, but it's just barely a 2 out of 2. It's barely making like full credit here. If it came with like any less, if it didn't have the unmasked head, for instance, I wouldn't be giving bro a 2 out of 2. I'm sorry. Finally, personal enjoyment. If you haven't already guessed already, it's gonna be a 2 out of 2. I love playing with this guy. I've been fidgeting with him throughout this entire segment. So, you know, he's super cool. And as a reissue, I'm including him of my toys of the year. So he's definitely gonna make that top 10 list. And I'm greatly excited to talk about him at the end of the year, compared with the rest of the boys that I get that came out in 2024. So if you're a Spider-Man fan, you have the chance, I would get this Venom. It is pretty much the definitive comic Venom from this era. I mean, again, I don't really know any other figures based on the style. I know that it's kind of like the Venom from the TV show. Maybe there's a Marvel Legends like that, but I just get this. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. The only thing I have to complain about is accessories, and that's just me being a super big Venom fan. Venom's not my favorite Spider-Man villain, but he's one of my favorite Spider-Man characters. I think I prefer him more as like an anti-hero-ish. Maybe that's a hot take, I don't know. But as a villain, no. As a character, yes. That's gonna be it for the review today, guys. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a comment or like and tell me what you enjoyed. If you didn't, leave a dislike and tell me what I could improve upon. I made this action figure channel to improve my knowledge on action figures and be well immersed into the community. So any and all feedback is greatly appreciated. The next review will probably be a figure arts. I'm not fully sure yet. Check the community tab for polls. I poll which figures to review next. I've been doing that for the past 2 or so. So I'm gonna do that again. So make sure to check that tab. That's gonna do it for me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day or night. Bye-bye.